It is week 17 in the NFL, guys. It is Mark from the Sports Corner. Week 16, we did all right. We didn't do so bad. We weren't in the green and we weren't in the red. We went 8-8 for week 16 in all my predictions. But my best bets went 3-1, so that's pretty great. Those are the games I personally bet, so my best bets went 3-1. And in week 15, my best bets went 2-1. So I'm 5-2 in the last 2 weeks, my best bets. And in week 15, I went 12-4 against the spread in all my predictions. So in the last 2 weeks, hey, that's not too bad. Before we start my week 17 picks, I want to say happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Whatever you guys celebrate, I hope you're having a great time. Just letting you guys know this is going to be a shorter video. It is the holidays. I got family over. I'm visiting family as well. So this is going to be released on Friday. So it's going to be a shorter video, more shorter than my longer breakdowns that go over, sometimes over an hour long. But besides that, I like a lot of games. I still did my research. If you want to catch my games that I predicted for Christmas, the Christmas games, and the Thursday night games, check out my TikToks, my Instagram, my YouTube shorts. I do those short form videos to get the information, my prediction out quick. So with that, like and subscribe, guys. It goes a long way. Costs you guys nothing and does a lot for this small channel. And hey, if you're watching me, I've been in the green the majority of the NFL season. I have a good winning record, so you're making a profit watching this video. So like and subscribe, guys, goes a long way. Let's get it started. Like I said, shorter video because of the holidays. So let's get it started. Week 17 and stay at the end for my best bets. There's a lot of games I like this week, some money to be made. So let's get at it. Week 17. We have a good Saturday matchup here. We have the Broncos versus the Bengals. Bengals being favored by 3 points and the over-under being 49.5. Really good matchup here. A lot on the line for the Broncos and Bengals. Broncos are coming off a loss to the Chargers. But they've been 4-1 the last 5 games. So, a little bump in the road with the Chargers. Bo Nix is looking great. He's having a good rookie year. 22 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, or 3,200 yards passing. He's going to be in the top 5, top 3 rookie of the year voting. So good for him. Very, very impressive. They don't have much on offense. We don't have to repeat it. They have Sutton, a wide receiver, their best weapon. That's about it. They have a running back committee that's not so great. But if they win this game, they make the playoffs. So it has a lot on the line. They have to win this game to make the playoffs. So, I think that's going to be enough motivation for them to beat the Bengals. Let's talk about the Bengals. They're coming off a win against the Browns. They're on a 3-game winning streak. So good for them. They're rolling a little bit. But the competition in that 3-game winning streak is not the best. So pump the brakes on that. I'll get straight to it. In this game, I like the over 49.5. I really do. The Bengals defense is god-awful. The defense is horrible. Anybody could score on the Bengals defense. It's like, I don't know what happened overnight. Last year, they weren't that bad. This year, the Bengals defense is terrible. It's garbage city. So I really think the Broncos could put enough points could score points on this Bengals defense. The Bengals' best defense is their offense. Their offense, they can put up 30 points so they could be in the games because that's how terrible their defense is. Joe Burrow doing really great. Guy would be the MVP or the MVP candidate if his team did have a losing record. Jamar Chase, that guy's killing it. We don't have to repeat all that. And the Bengals defense have only held 4 teams to 20 points or fewer, and those teams were god-awful. They're like the Giants, teams that were so terrible on offense. So their defense can't hold any offense that's worth anything. So that's why I'm taking the 49.5. Denver's offense has been averaging 33 points in the last 5 games, and the overs 5-2 in Bengals home games this season, and 5-3 in the Broncos 8 road contests. So the overs hitting for these teams. So like I said, I really like the over 49.5, but I also think another great play is Denver over team total 22.5. Like I said, I think the Broncos are going to put at least 24 to 27 points on the Bengals. In our last Saturday night game, we have the Cardinals versus the Rams. Rams being favored by 6.5 points and the over-under being 48. Cardinals are coming off a loss to the Panthers. They've lost now 4 to the last 5 games. And I called it. When the Cardinals were in first place weeks ago, I told everybody don't buy. The Cardinals are still having average to below average defense. They have 2 weapons, McBride and Connor. That's about it. Their wide receiving core is not good. The best one's a rookie, and he looks like a rookie. Marvin Harrison Jr., he looks like he's a step behind Malik Neighbors, and he looks like he's a step behind Brian Thompson Jr. So, the Cardinals are just a year to 2 years still behind. Usually when they have to win games, Kyle Murray has to play Superman. But, pump the brakes. They're a year to 2 years away, people. Both running backs, James Conner and Benson, are questionable for this game. And both the left tackle and right tackle are going to be out for the Cardinals. So they're a bit beat up right now as we, go to the end of the season here. One good thing about the Cardinals, though, the Cardinals have always covered the spread this year when an underdog by 6.5 or more points. So they are covering big spreads. That's good if you want to bet on the Cardinals. And the Rams are coming off a win to the Jets. They're on a 4-game winning streak. The Rams have covered the spread in each of their last 4 games. And the Rams, they need this win to tidy up this division and, head into the playoffs on a positive note, winning the NFC West. So with all that, because James, they really need, if the Cardinals running game is not good, it all falls apart. They really rely on James Conner being that workhorse. So with James Conner being beat up, Benson being up, their tackles are being beat up, and them losing 4 of the last 5 games, and I know I just said they cover a lot of big spreads, I don't care. The Rams are rolling. They're playing really great 4-game winning streak. And like I said, they have one of the best offenses, one of the best 1-2 punch and wide receivers in the NFL. So I think the Rams cover this. They cover it easily. I think they win by 10 points or more. But I'll take the Rams to cover the 6.5 in this game and for them to wrap this up and win the NFC West. And our first Sunday matchup, we have the Jets versus the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo being favored by 8.5 and the over-under being 46. So the Jets are coming off a loss to the Rams. The Jets look like they had that game in the bag. Not in the bag, but looked like they were going to win it. And then they just some dumb decisions by the head coach, their coaching staff in general. Going on 4th down multiple times when they could kick a field goal or put the Rams in bad field position. No, they're doing wacko plays and going for it. I guess that makes sense because you're a team that's going nowhere. But I mean, go for it when it makes sense, not just going for it to go for it. So bad decision by the head coaching staff in that game last week. The defense looks like it's given up as well. They have all these weapons on defense and they are underperforming like nobody's business. At one point, that was one of the best secondaries in the NFL. Now it looks like, garbage. Anybody could beat up on this team. Aaron Rodgers is still running his mouth. He's on Pat McAfee saying, do I want to be on the team? Or do they want me to be on the team? I don't know if I should be on the team. Like, dude, shut up. Just shut up, Aaron Rodgers. God, you're the biggest mouthpiece in the NFL. Who watches this guy? Honestly, people, tell me. The people who watch Pat McAfee's show, are you tuning in to see what Aaron Rodgers says? I don't know why anybody likes to hear what he has to say. The guy is a moron. He's a tinfoil hat kind of guy. He makes no sense, and he's always talking about his team and sometimes throwing the coaching staff or the management or the owners under the bus. The guy did the same thing with the Packers. Just shut up, Aaron Rodgers. My God, I'm sure the Jets fans want you the hell out of this city. They don't want you here either. Get the hell out. Besides that, the Jets, they have failed to cover the spread in 9 of their last 12 games, and nobody's surprised about that. And they're 2-5 in the last 7 games. In the last 5 games, the Jets have scored 21 or more points in 4 of those games. So they are scoring a good amount of points. Like I said, there's 4 of those 5 games, they're putting up 21 points or more. Now, the Bills are second in scoring in the NFL. They're 9-1 the last 10 games. Their offense is all healthy. They're all coming into this game healthy on the offensive side, which is really good to see if you're a Bills fan or Bills better. The Bills defense has given up, though, a combined 1,357 yards, 86 first downs, and have allowed opponents to convert 24 out of 40 third down opportunities in the last 3 games. So where I'm heading with this is the Jets are putting up points on the last 4 out of the last 5 games. The Bills defense are letting people score on them because their defense is not that good, people. And the Bills offense is one of the best in all of the NFL. They're putting up a lot of points themselves. So I think this number is a little too big for my taste. 8.5, 9.5. If I was going to choose who's going to win this game and cover, I do lean towards the Bills to cover the 8.5 points. But I think the best play is over 46. I truly do. I think the Jets can put up 2 to 3 touchdowns, and I believe the Bills are going to put up 30 to 20, 24 to 30 points on the Jets themselves, because the Bills, their best defense is their offense. So I think the over 46 is the best play. And this next matchup, it's ugly. It's awful. I don't know who's going to watch this game. I don't think their own fan bases are going to watch this game. Both these teams have nothing to fight for. Both these teams are going to have a top 5 pick in the draft. That's the Titans versus the Jaguars. Jaguars being favored by 1 point and the over-under being 39.5. Let's keep this short and simple. This game comes down to what players do you like most on each team. That's basically it. You got the Jaguars. They have a really great wide receiver, Brian Thompson Jr., a rookie. Looks like he's going to be a great rookie for them, something they could probably build on. They have an average to above average running back duo in Travis Etienne and Bigsby. And they have Mac Jones at quarterback. Not terrible. He's not as bad as the Saints quarterbacks. He's thrown over 200 yards in each of his last 2 games, so it's not that bad. And then the other side, you have some guys to get after the quarterback for the defense for the Jaguars. Like I said, they have Walker. He could get after the quarterback. But their defense, their secondary, not that great. For the Titans, they're coming off a win. They put up over 30 points. I think 38 points, I believe they put up. So not bad. They have Calvin Ridley, a wide receiver, and Tyler Boyd. So not too terrible. They have a good running back duo in Tony Pollard, which he is questionable for this game, so keep an eye on that. And they have Spears as the other running back, so not terrible. But they have Mason Rudolph, not bad as well. I mean, he did have a better game last week, but, do you trust any of these quarterbacks? Probably not. They have a good defense as well. One of the only things they got going for them is their defense. So, like I said, it comes down to who do you like the most. And I think the best play is over 39.5. I think everybody's going to be betting the under in this game because a bunch of no-namers and guys who have nothing to fight for. But I think these teams are going to sling it out. I think Calvin Ridley's going to want to have a revenge game in this game. And I think that he's going to want to get a touchdown or two. I think both these teams are going to be running the ball a lot as well, and they're going to use the play action off that. So, and like I said, the Jaguars have Brian Thompson Jr. He's going to get over 1,000 yards probably as a rookie. So I think the best play is over 39.5. I'm not betting this game. I don't think it's going to be a great game whatsoever, but I think these two teams are going to sling it out. I think it's going to be like a 23-20 game or 24-20 game, something like that. But I think they're going to just sling it, and whoever, gets to 20, 24 points wins the game. But give me the over 39.5 in this awful, terrible game that nobody's going to watch. One of the better matchups for Sunday, we got the Panthers versus the Buccaneers. Buccaneers being favored by 8 points and the over-under being 48.5. Panthers are coming off a good win against the Cardinals. They put over 30 points on them. Their last 5 games, their defense has shown up. They've sacked the quarterback 17 times in the last 5 games. Really good to see, because the Panthers defense usually is just terrible, but they're showing they're putting something together. They could get after the quarterback. They're 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games. We all know this. When I told you guys to hit the Panthers hard, people were sleeping on them. They came through for us, so really good to see. The Buccaneers, they're coming off a loss to the Cowboys. Told you guys to take the Cowboys that money line. They hit for us. Baker Mayfield, though, the guy's having a great year. Top 5 in touchdown passes, I believe, passing yards. His best season, I think, of his whole career. So Baker Mayfield's looking real great. He's looking really good in the last 2 games. Against the Dallas Cowboys, he completed over 72 of his passes. And against the Chargers, which has a really good defense, he's completed 81.5% of his passes. So he's looking real great in the last 2 games. But as usual, we all know the Buccaneers secondary is hot garbage. Anybody could pass on them. Anybody, a high school quarterback can pass on them. Go look up their injury report. They have so many people beat up in that secondary. Either they're beat up or questionable coming into the game, or they're already out for the game. Go look at the injury report. A lot of that secondary is beat up. So the Buccaneers' best defense is their offense. They have a good running game, by the way. Let me take that back. They do have a good rushing defense. So Chuba Hubbard, if you have him in fantasy, he might not do too well because he's playing against a good rushing defense. But like I said, they're going to pass the ball on the Buccaneers. That's what the Panthers have to do to beat them or keep it close because their secondary is Swiss cheese. With all that being said, I think the Panthers getting 8 points is I don't understand it whatsoever. I think it's way too many points. I think the Buccaneers should be a 6 to 6.5 point favorite. 8 points is way too much. So I'm taking the Carolina Panthers plus the 8 points, but I really like the over 48.5. I think that's the best play. Each of the last 4 games between the Panthers and the Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium, where the Buccaneers play, it has gone over the total points. So the last 4 times they played in Tampa Bay, it has gone over the total 4 times in the last 4 times they played. So give me the Panthers plus the 8 points. But I think my best play here is the over 48.5, which should be a really good game. Buccaneers need this win to close out the NFC South so they can make the playoffs. So this should be a really good matchup. And now we have a matchup that a lot of us Eagles fans, we always love this matchup. We can't wait till it happens. But this year, with all the injuries that have happened lately, it's not so that hot. It's not going to be one of those matchups that you're anticipating. It's not going to be so great, this one. We have the Cowboys versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia being favored by 6.5 and the over-under being 39.5. Cowboys, if you haven't heard, big news, CeeDee Lamb is out for the rest of the year. He's not playing this game. He is their only weapon. I know people are saying, oh, Rico, the running back, he's looking pretty good. Rico's only good because CeeDee Lamb opens things up for him and all the other wide receivers. Other than that, who's their wide receivers? I think it's Brandon Cooks and Turbin. That's not so great. They're quick guys, small, shifty, but not one of them should be the number 1 wide receiver, okay? And they have Ferguson and that Schofield. I forget the other backup tight end. So I figure the tight ends are probably going to get into a lot. And the Cowboys are going to do a lot of running. Cooper Rush is not so bad. He has a good touchdown to interception ratio. That's why I told you guys to take them over the Buccaneers straight up, and they came through for us because Cooper Rush is actually a solid quarterback this year. Better than average. He's one of the better backups in this league. But now without CeeDee Lamb, it's like you're taking the fangs out of a viper, out of a snake. They have no more weapons. So that's really bad news for the Cowboys. Eagles, they have their own injuries. They're coming off a loss to the Commanders. Commanders got lucky. Hurts, he gets a concussion right in the first quarter, so not so great for the Eagles there. Kenny Pickett will be playing, looks like, for the Cowboys in this game. I know with concussions, they can make a last-minute turnaround, and he gets approved like on Saturday or maybe Sunday morning. So keep an eye out for that. But it does look like Jalen Hurts is going to be out for this game. But if he miraculously comes back Saturday or Sunday morning, keep an eye out for that because that number is going to go from 6.5 to 8.5 probably. So if Jalen Hurts does come back, take that number at 6.5 for sure. Besides that Commanders game, the Eagles have only allowed 18.9 points. So they've been allowing the majority of the teams they've played against to not score a lot. And they have allowed the fewest yards per game, the second fewest pass yards a game, and the 9th fewest rushing yards allowed. So they're holding teams to the bare minimum. So that's why I like the Eagles to cover the 6.5, even though Jalen Hurts is out. They still have a lot of weapons. A.J. Brown is playing. Devontae Smith is playing. Barkley, he wants to beat that record against break Eric Dickerson's record. So he's going to play tough in this game. And the Eagles have the best offensive line in the NFL. Parsons is playing really great for the Cowboys, but Parsons can't play every position. So I think the Eagles cover the 6.5. I can see them winning this game literally like 21-10. Because like I said, without CeeDee Lamb, the Cowboys, they have no fangs. They have no poison. And in this awful game, we have the Colts versus the Giants. The Colts being favored by 7.5 and the over-under being 40 points. Colts are coming off a win against the Titans. Jonathan Taylor had a great game. He ran over 200 yards and a couple of TDs. He had to bounce back after that embarrassing drop he did before he got in the end zone 2 weeks ago. What a moron. What a bonehead play that was. The Colts, they have a very small window to still make the playoffs. It's very small. So I think that's enough motivation for them to probably win this game. They're 9-6 against the spread. But this prediction has more to do with the Giants. The Giants are an awful, garbage mess. They're coming off a loss to the Falcons. They're on a 10-game losing streak. Drew Lock threw 2 pick sixes to the Atlanta Falcons. And the Giants' O-line is a mess. The player who was currently playing at center, he was seen with a walking boot, so he's not playing this game. The other starting guy, or who was starting, the other offensive lineman, Greg Van Roten, he has a knee injury, and the whole offensive line is being shuffled around. The left guard playing left tackle, the right guard playing right tackle. You don't know who's playing what. So a bunch of these guys who are not in their natural position are playing the offensive line, and it's just a carousel. Nobody knows who's playing the offensive line, who's starting. So it's a goddamn mess. It's awful. In that Tennessee game versus the Colts last week, you saw that Tennessee almost roared back and picking up 30 points on the Colts. And I think the Giants, because if the Giants lose this game, it's going to be one of the worst records they've had since the 70s. They're already on the worst losing streak in franchise history. So I think they're going to put up a bit of a fight here because they don't want to be more embarrassed. And Drew Lock can't play any worse than he did in Atlanta. So, I actually think they'll put up a good fight for the majority of the game. And I do lean towards the over 40 points. But the Giants, I think, in the end, will falter. They will go down to the ground. And the Colts, because they have that small window open, I think they just utilize their running game, and they'll just keep on pounding on the Giants. And the Giants eventually will break like a dam, and the Colts will run away with this. And I guess this being a 27-17 game at the end of the day. The Giants are 1-4 against the spread in the last 5 games as home underdogs, so they're not covering at home. So with that, give me the Colts to cover the 7.5, and I do lean towards the over 40, but I think the Colts covering the number is the best play. And another god-awful matchup. We have the Raiders versus the Saints. Currently, the Raiders are favored by 1 point. The over-under is 37.5. You can actually find this number at the Saints being favored or it being a pick'em game. But whatever. This game is awful. I don't think nobody's going to watch it. Why would you watch it? So like the Jaguars game, this is all about what players do you like most in each team and who do you think is going to win out, who has the better talent. And I think for me, it's the Raiders. I think the Raiders, I picked them against the Jaguars because I like them better. I like their weapons more than the Jaguars' weapons. And the Raiders came through for us. I like their weapons. They have Brock Bowers, are now one of the best tight ends in all football, and he's a rookie. Jacoby Myers. And they're using Abdullah and Madison as a good 1-2 punch running backs. So not too terrible, okay? I've seen there's plenty of teams with worse weapons. And their defense is actually solid. Their secondary is average to above average, so it's not terrible. The Saints are probably going to be out with Alvin Kamara, and their offense revolves around him. Because Derek Carr, he's out for the season. Without him, they really relied on Alvin Kamara, and now since he's out, they have nothing. Spencer Rattler is garbage, their backup quarterback. The other guy, backup quarterback, he's garbage too. I like Aiden O'Connell way more than I like those guys. So that's what it comes down to. The Saints defense is awful. Their secondary has a bunch of injuries, has a bunch of nobodies. Their wide receivers, a bunch of injuries, and they have nobodies there, okay, besides MVS. But they can't get the ball to MVS because they have these garbage quarterbacks playing in their stead, okay? So give me Aiden O'Connell, give me Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers over the Saints any day of the week. So give me the Raiders to cover the 1 point. I think this could probably even get out of hand, probably be 20-7. But I think the Raiders cover this number easy because they just have the better weapons. And the Saints, they need a new head coach, a new GM, new everything. So give me the Raiders. And for this matchup, we are heading to Ohio. We got the Dolphins versus the Browns. Miami being favored by 6.5 and the over-under being 40 points. Dolphins are coming off a win against the 49ers. Dolphins also have a small window to make the playoffs. Very small, things like 10 to 14% to make it. But hey, for players. That's probably giving them a lot of motivation to still make it. So I think that's a good thing to know if you're going to bet on the Miami Dolphins. This is very simple to me. DTR for the Browns is god awful. DTR is probably one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Maybe not the worst. I think him and Spencer Rattler are probably the worst quarterbacks, and Drew Lock are probably the worst quarterbacks starting right now. But DTR, he cannot get the ball to his wide receiver. He can't throw down the field. He just uses his legs. That's all he's good for. This, to me, is the Browns saying, we are tanking. Winston gave him their best opportunity. I know he's throwing interceptions, but at least he could throw an accurate ball sometimes, okay? So them putting DTR in is them waving the flag saying, we are tanking. We need a first-round pick to get a quarterback or something to help this team for next year. So with that, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. The Browns have no offense. Nick Chubb is gone. Ford is a good backup, but not great. The tight end, their good tight end, David Njoku, whatever, he's out for this game as well. All they have now is left is Tillman, who's kind of banged up, and Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy's a great deep threat. He's, I believe, almost at 1,000-yard receiving, or maybe he's just above it. But DTR can't get the ball to him. So I think to be low scoring. I think because it's going to be cold in Cleveland, I think that's going to affect the Miami Dolphins because they play terrible in the cold. And the Miami's defense is actually pretty decent. And the Browns can get after the quarterback still. So that's one thing they got going for them. They have an okay defense that their defensive line, their front seven, can get after the quarterback. So also, the under is 7-1 the Dolphins' last 8 road games. So that's all I need to hear from me. Give me the under 40 points in this game as my best play. And if I had to choose a team, I'd take Miami to cover the 6.5 just because DTR is terrible, one of the worst starting quarterbacks in all of the NFL. But I think under 40 is the best play. And now we have the best matchup of the week. We have the Packers versus the Vikings. The over-under is 48. But when it comes to who's favorite, you can get this anywhere. If you whatever book you use, shop different books for the best number of people. That's how you make the most money. You can get the Packers favorite in some books or the Vikings favorite in some other books. So shop your books, whoever you like the most, and get the best number. But right now, let's just say it's a pick'em game because I'm not sure. I'm probably going to pick this game when it comes like on Sunday with the last minute and see what the best number I can get. Green Bay is coming off a good win against the Saints. They blew them out, embarrassed them, dog walked the Saints. They're 5-1 their last 6 games. They have a great offense. We know who weapons they have. Jordan Love, they kind of took the ball out of his hands. He has 24 touchdowns, only 11 interceptions, and he has over 3,100 yards passing. They turn to Josh Jacobs. It's now a power running team. Josh Jacobs is having a great bounce back year. He has 1,216 yards rushing and 13 touchdowns. Really great to see. But it also really good thing to see if you want to bet the Packers in this game. Matt LaFleur is 20-3 as a head coach in December. 20 wins and only 3 losses. That is pretty damn good. That's a number you want to see, especially in a game that's going to be so close. The majority of the Packers' losses have come to their NFC North rivals, so keep that in mind. They lost twice to the Lions and once to the Vikings, so it looks like they're having trouble in their own division. Another thing to keep in mind, their best corner, Jair Alexander, the guy's hurt again. He didn't practice on Thursday. This guy's beat up. Now, they might be keeping on to him and waiting for him to get fully healthy for the playoffs, which could be smart, but the guy needs to maybe play one more game or play this game to knock some rust off. And that's not good to hear for if you want to bet the Packers because he's done well against Justin Jefferson, Jair Alexander. So for him not playing this game, which looks like he's not, so keep an eye on it, not really good news for the Packers. This guy's been hurt the majority of the season, so I don't know what they're doing over there. So let's get to the Vikings, though. Vikings are coming off a good win against the Seahawks in Seattle. That was like a playoff type of game. Sam Darnold has been his best year ever in his whole career, looking really great. He looks better than Jordan Love. He has 3,776 yards passing, 32 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions only. The guy's having a hell of a year. I thought he was going to come down to earth, but no, he's lighting the league on fire. Justin Jefferson, The guy's killing it. Not much to say about him. He has 1,378 yards receiving, and he has 10 touchdowns and 92 receptions. So he's killing it. Jordan Addison is killing it as well. Good 1-2 punch, receiving punch, that is, for the Vikings. They have a solid defense as well, the Vikings. They're second best in stopping the run. So, that means Jordan Love is probably going to have to beat this team. They're going to rely on him a little bit more. They have the best third scoring defense, but their Achilles heel, just like the Lions, their secondary is terrible. They are awful against the pass. They're third worst against the pass in general. They're third ranked. So that is not good, especially when come playoff time. But in this game, which Jordan Love is more capable enough, and they have weapons, good 2 tight ends. They're surrounded by a bunch of good wide receivers, the Packers. So that doesn't bode well for the Vikings. Remember, this game was a close game for the majority of it when they played the first time. So Jordan Love is really going to have to step it up, because that's how he exposed the Vikings. Because their secondary is god awful. This is a tough game. This is a really tough game for me. Both really great teams. The Vikings are on like an 8-9 game winning streak. The Packers are rolling too. Like I said, they've only lost 1 game in the last 5 weeks. Okay, so they're killing it as well. They've turned to the power running game, which has been really great, really fruitful. Jacobs having a great year. Both have solid defenses. They have their weaknesses, but the Vikings have one bad, solid defense. It's in Minnesota. I think this is going to be a bit of a shootout. I really do. I think the Packers are going to attack that secondary, are going to put up over 21 points on them. And I think the Vikings are going to have to keep up, and they're going to pass the ball, especially with Jair Alexander being out. I think Justin Jefferson's having a better game in this game than usual. So I think the best bet is over 48. If I was going to choose a team, and this is a coin toss kind of game, 50-50, I'd probably choose the Packers, and that I am not very confident in that pick. But I think the best play for this game is the over 48. I think they're going to go back and forth. I can see one of these teams going over 30 points. So give me the over 48 in this great matchup. And now we have our Sunday night football game. The Falcons versus the Commanders. Commanders being favored by 4.5 and the over-under being 47.5. Falcons are coming off a blowout win against the Giants. Giants look terrible in that game. They threw 2 pick sixes. So, what are you going to do? The Giants are god awful. Michael Penix, the rookie who's starting over Kirk Cousins, he didn't look so great. Everybody's giving a little too much juice, like Colin Cowherd. I don't know what they were watching. I didn't see a good quarterback. I know it's his rookie year, but I think people shouldn't give him juice since it was his first game, He went for 18 for 27 for 202 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 interception. They're going to run a ball. They're going to run a lot in this game. They're going to use B.J. Robinson and Tyler Algier, the Falcons, to make sure Michael Penix doesn't get exposed. The Falcons overall have been 6-8 against the spread. Let's talk about the Commanders. Commanders coming off a lucky win against the Eagles. Yes, it was lucky, Commanders fan. If Hurts plays that game, you guys do not win that game. The Commanders turned over the ball 5 times against the Eagles, and the Eagles only picked 6 points out of those 5 turnovers. Jalen Hurts plays that game. Jalen Hurts puts up more than 6 points off those 5 turnovers. So it was a lucky win by the Commanders. The Commanders are on a 3-game winning streak, and Jaden Daniels actually looks more healthy. I think those broken ribs he has, I think they've just healed itself, and you can see his motions and his throwing. He looks good. This game to me comes down to who has more experience, and to me, it's obviously Jaden Daniels. He's been starting since week 1. He's been battle tested. He's played road games. This is Michael Penix's first road game. It's going to be in Washington, D.C., so it's going to be a bit cold. So give me Jaden Daniels. He's been battle tested. He's shown he could play against tough teams. He beat the Eagles. They had a good fight against the Ravens. And Michael Penix, his defense had to score twice for him, and his running backs had to do the majority of the work. So I like Jaden Daniels in this way more than I like Michael Penix. The Commanders are 5-2 against the spread as home favorites this season. So, and in general, the Commanders are 9-5-1 against the spread. So they have a winning record against the spread, and they're 5-2 against the spread as home favorites. So give me the Commanders to cover the 4.5, and I lean towards the under 47.5, but I think the Commanders covering the number is the best play. And those are my predictions for all the Week 17 games. Just to recap the two previous weeks, Week 15, I went 12-4 against the spread, and Week 16, I went 8-8 against the spread. So let's get after my best bets now. Let's keep the winning week going. In my best bets, Week 15, I went 2-1, and in Week 16, my best bets went 3-1. So my best bets are rolling. They're in the green. Let's keep that going. I like some really good games here, some good matchups. Some money to be made, some profit. Let's get after it. My best bets for Week 17. And my first best bet is the Chargers to cover the 4 points. I know the Patriots fought the Bills pretty tough there and they only lost by 3 points, but I think they gave all their effort in that one game. Plus, it was a divisional game, a big rivalry, so they know each other pretty well. I give me the Chargers to cover this because Jim Harbaugh in a situation like this, knowing they have to win this game to make the playoffs, I think all the juice is going to go on the Chargers players to show up and win this game by a mile. J.K. Dobbins is questionable, but he's leading likely to more to play this game. But the Patriots secondary is awful, so I think Justin Herbert could light this secondary up. I think the Patriots will put up some points, but I could see this game being 20-28 or 20-27 kind of game. So I think the Chargers, knowing they have to win to make the playoffs, I think they cover this number easy. So give me the Chargers to cover the 4 points. And my second best bet is the Broncos over their team total against the Bengals. I got it at 22.5, but I actually like it at 23.5 as well. I think the Broncos could put up at least 24 points, even more against the Bengals, which the Bengals defense is one of the worst defenses in the league. I think that game's going to be a shootout in general. I even lean to the over as my best bet in that game. But I think for sure more shoo-in is the Broncos to go over the team total 22.5. And if that number's raised up, I even like it at 23.5, but I think the Broncos put up 24 points in this game. I think it's going to be a shootout, so take that as my second best bet. And my third best bet, I like the over 48.5 in the Panthers versus Buccaneers game. The Buccaneers secondary is Swiss cheese. It is awful. Anybody could pass on that team. And they have more injuries this week coming into this game. So I think the Panthers can expose their secondary. The Panthers defense is not so great. They've been better than usual, but you can still rush and throw on this team. The Buccaneers have a great running back tandem in Rashad White and Bucky Irving. They have a good wide receiver tandem in Mike Evans and now the rookie, Jalen McMillan, I believe his name is. He's not doing so bad. Looks like he's really getting to know the playbook now. And Kada on the tight end. He is a little beat up, but I think he's going to play this game. So I think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I think it's going to be like a 30-24 kind of game. But I think this goes over the 48.5 easily. So give me the over 48.5 in the Buccaneers game. And my last best bet, I think the Rams come in and they demolish the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are beat up. Both their tackles are hurt, the left and right tackle. Or if the running backs might not play that game, James Conner and Benton. And if James Conner is out, see you later, good night. They really rely on him. He's Mr. Reliable to get those tough yards. If the Cardinals are going to have any chance in this game, they have to have Kyle Murray play Superman and Clark Kent and Batman, okay? He's going to have to play all these superheroes to even keep it competitive. I think the Rams know that they need this game to win the NFC West, and I think they come in here and they just blow the doors off the Cardinals. So give me the Rams to cover the 6.5 points. So guys, those are my predictions for week 17, my best bets. I think we're going to have a great profitable week this week. I really like my best bets. My best bets have been 5-2 in the last 2 weeks. Let's keep the winning streak going. Week 15 in all my predictions, I went 12-4 against the spread, and last week I went 8-8 against the spread. So I'm still not in the red in the last 2 weeks. And the majority of the end of this NFL season, you could go check. I have only been in the red once this NFL season. So the whole NFL season in a whole, as we come to an end, has been a profitable season for me. So with that, guys, like and subscribe. It goes a long way. It costs you guys nothing. Helps this little channel out. I love doing this. I love giving these picks for free. I want us to win money. Leave in the comments who you think is the best play, what information you have. More information for us means more money for us. So let's win. Let's make a profit, guys. Have a great holidays, a Merry Christmas, a great New Year. And with that, guys, I will always see you in the next one.